This is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us on the program for Abubakar Oyibo. The headlines: U.S. Congress launches probe into alleged Christian killings in Nigeria. Wike backed PDP faction emergency meetings amid party tensions. Former AGF Malami declares 2027 Kebbi governorship ambition. And on the first flights back track as a multi Welcome back. And now the news in details. The United States Congress has announced a full-scale investigation into what lawmakers described as alleged genocide against Christian communities in Nigeria. The move follows growing concerns over escalating violence, with reports that the findings could shape future U.S. foreign policy, including aid and security cooperation with Nigeria. Advocacy groups have welcomed the development, calling it a critical step towards accountability and justice for victims of the ongoing crisis. Meanwhile, a faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, loyal to former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, has summoned emergency meetings of the party's Board of Trustees and National Executive Committee. The move amid deepening divisions within the PDP as internal disputes and strategy continue to unsettle Nigeria's main opposition party. Party insiders say the meetings are expected to address pressing concerns about unity, discipline, and the faction's growing power balance, with implications for its national standing and preparations for future elections. Well, in another development, Nigeria's former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has formally declared his intention to contest the Kebbi State governorship election in 2027. Welcome back. And now let's move on to business matters. A Nigerian government-sponsored scholar studying overseas has staged protests over the non-payment of the allowances. The demonstrations held in several countries saw students voicing frustrations over months of delayed stipends, which they say have left many struggling to cover basic living expenses. And chants highlighted their demand for urgent intervention from the federal government to resolve the crisis. The protests have drawn attention to the broader challenges facing Nigeria's scholarship programs, with critics warning that the situation could tarnish the country's reputation and discourage future academic partnerships. Officials are yet to provide a clear timeline for payment, but affected scholars insist they will continue to press for accountability until the entitlements are fully settled. On the foreign scene, air travel across the United States has returned to normal schedules following the resolution of the recent government shutdown. Airports that had faced staffing shortages and delays due to grounded operations are now reporting smooth with federal
football ambition. For Nigeria, however, the result represents a profound setback. The Super Eagles will miss back-to-back World Cup for the first time since their debut in 1994. There is a serious concern about the team's tactic, directions, cohesion, and long-term planning. That's your P&B Sport News update. I'm Abel Sunday.
Welcome back. And now let's move on to the focus of the day on Politics and Business Television, where we examine the stories that could shape Nigeria's future. Today, a story of chilling violence and deep institutional tension. Lieutenant A.M. Yarima of the Nigerian Navy reportedly escaped an assassination attempt in Abuja. Sources say he was trailed by men in two unmarked Hilux vans dressed in black before executing a strategic maneuver to evade them. This comes just days after a widely publicized confrontation between Lieutenant Yarima and the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over a land dispute. Retired veterans are already warning that this could be more than just a security scare. It may be a direct threat to the dignity, discipline, and legitimacy of our armed forces. But here's a twist. The FCT Police Command has denied any report of an assassination attempt, calling the story unverified and urging Nigerians to avoid spreading panic. So we ask, is this real or political?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Comrade Bitago, from what you've seen, how likely do you believe this assassination attempt is a legitimate threat or a politically motivated scare tactic?
The situation is something that is very, very possible. More especially considering how viral and the kind of recommendations from the military top generals to civil society organizations and to the general, in fact 99% of Nigerian citizens and even the international communities were so happy the way this young naval officer conducted himself when he was harassed and embarrassed by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory in person of Honorable Nyesom Wike and his entourage. The guy exhibited professionalism, he exhibited maturity, he abided by the conduct of his profession. And you see that, indeed, the actions of his professionalism and the actions of the Honorable Minister were so contrary, were not compatible. We expected that the Honorable Minister will have been the one to have exhibited that maturity, that high level of maturity, that high level of professionalism as a senior public officer and as a barrister of law. But unfortunately, could be due to power drunk, the Honorable Minister behaved like a dog, and the young man, the naval officer, behaved like a corporate gentleman and a professional naval officer. So, to that extent, what do you expect? You will even go after the life of this young man, even without the knowledge of the Honorable Minister. And that is the society we find ourselves. A society where politicians who are voted into power by the citizens they are leaving office look more of charlatans. They look wretched. They look disgruntled. In fact, the situation is quite unfortunate. So we call upon the Nigerian security agencies to provide maximum security to this young man.
But Lieutenant Yarima's confrontation with Minister Wike was already highly controversial. Do you think this incident is a backlash for speaking out or something deeper?
It is backlash for speaking loud, for standing to the truth. I mean, check it out. We were all in civil service. We were, in civil service, and before you, more especially, if you are going to be appointed as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, profiling is there by the security agencies, and induction courses are there when you are inaugurated and sworn into the office. Now the question we ask, why Honorable Minister has been so proud? Why has he been so arrogant? Why has this been full of proud that he is more than any other person? For crying out loud, there are protocols and laid down procedures in public service. There are ethics and manners and behaviors through procedural conduct. For crying out loud, if Honorable Nelson Wike as the FCT minister was not contented with the process of that land acquisition, he will have officially summoned the proprietor of that land without even visiting the field. And the proprietor will come to the office. That one is unnegotiable and undisputable. Nobody is good, nobody is perfect, nobody is correct, nobody is a human being aside them. That is the society we find ourselves. And for this young man to have stood his ground, you can now see the kind of threat. In fact, if care is not taken, you will see many more. Many more. We have seen civil society, other cronies of Wike who have even called for the dismissal and the court martial of the officer for crying out loud. What does the officer did wrong?
Well, the denial by the FCT Police Command, it has raised red flags.
Maybe court martial or taken to the civic courts. You understand? So if Nigerian police will not contribute, will not assist, will not intervene as esprit de corps, I think the naval intelligence units as well as the naval police should be able to be up and doing and should be able to be active in this respect. You understand? In collaboration with the Nigerian Army and the other Nigerian Air Force and what of you. For crying out loud, this is one of them. That slogan that one for all for one, remains within the esprit de corps of the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force and what of you. So one for all for one should play in this circumstance by protecting and providing maximum security for Lieutenant Yarima.
Okay, one for all for one. But in the video that has been going viral, it was shown that members of other security services who were with the Honorable Minister were also attacking Lieutenant Yarima and the officers behind him. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. I want to ask you, what impact does this kind of incident, or should I say a threat, is this a threat to a uniformed officer, what have on the morale and independence of the security service?
You see, insult directed to Lieutenant Yarima, but an insult directed to the President and Commander-in-Chief, in which the President and Commander-in-Chief should have acted immediately by dismissing the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Dismissing the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
Okay,
but a kind of silence to that extent was a kind of abating further immorality, further indiscipline, further disorderliness by some of these arrogant leaders we have and we call as leaders.
Okay, comrade, before I let you go, my last question for you. What should the government do now? Should they offer full protection to Lieutenant Yarima? And he's not just the only commander-in-chief, grand commander-in-chief for the protection of Lieutenant Yarima. And he's not just the only one. Their group is not just the only one. There's so many other Nigerians that are rallying behind Lieutenant Yarima. Some say he's a symbol of hope to help people curb out the power play or the power drunkenness of many politicians and other people who are in places of power. Comrade Bitako Abubakar Umar, thank you for your insight. This is a deeply worrying moment for Nigeria's security institutions. Thank you once again.
Honestly.
Well,
Thank you so much.
if a serving naval officer can be trailed, threatened, and possibly targeted, then our democracy and chain of command are at risk. Uniforms cannot be intimidated by political power. We must demand full transparency, accountability, and protection for Lieutenant Yarima, not just for him, but for every officer who serves our nation. This has been our focus today. Stay with us for more analysis and updates. And that wraps up today's program. But before we go, the headlines again. U.S. Congress launches probe into alleged Christian killings in Nigeria. Wike-backed PDP faction calls emergency meetings amid party tensions. Former AGF Malemi declares 2027 Kebbi governorship ambition. And on the foreign scene, U.S. flights back on track as government shutdown ends. For more updates and in-depth analysis, follow Politics and Business Television. I beg your pardon. Politics and Business TV.English on YouTube and Facebook. Connect with us on Instagram at PMBTV_English and TikTok and X.